Hey everybody, please help me out and do me a big favor and subscribe, like, and share. Thank you very much.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get on, how to send the join thing on my laptop, and I haven't figured it out yet.
You're asking the wrong person, man. I can barely even turn one on.
I need a new browser. It says Facebook isn't supported on this one.
Okay. Try to download Google Chrome. All right, let me.
All right, Professor, what you got for me? You got the scores for today?
That's what I'm looking them up now.
Okay.
I can do it. We can do lives on the phone.
Alrighty. All right, let me go down here and start with. Go away. All right. Trying to get all the way to the bottom here.
No worries.
All right. Western Michigan beat Northern Illinois the other night. Yeah, that's not today's. Let's see. All right. Minnesota upsets number 14 Wisconsin 23-13. Tulsa upends SMU 34-31. Louisiana beats Louisiana Monroe 21-16. Arizona State beats Arizona 38-15. Virginia Tech upends Virginia 29-24. Tennessee over Vanderbilt 45-21. Western Kentucky beats down Marshall 53-21. Michigan State upends Penn State 30-27. Oregon over Oregon State 38-29. Illinois over Northwestern 47-14. Purdue blows out Indiana 44-7. Alabama upends Auburn 24-22 in 4 overtimes. New Mexico State beats down Massachusetts 44-27. Hawaii over Wyoming 38-14. Southern Miss 37. Florida International 17. App State over Georgia Southern 27-3. Texas State over Arkansas State 24-22. North Texas ends University Texas San Antonio's perfect season with a 45-23 win. Georgia State over Troy 37-10. Old Dominion beats Charlotte 56-34. Rice beats LA Tech 35-31. Miami blows out Duke 47-10. Wake Forest wins up in Boston, beats Boston College 41-10. They advance to the ACC Championship against Pitt. Georgia shuts out Georgia Tech 45-0. Baylor beats Texas Tech 27-24. Michigan surprisingly upsets number 2 Ohio State 42-27. Navy over Temple 38-14. Kent State beats Miami, Ohio 48-47 in overtime. Maryland beats down Rutgers 40-16.
Hey, Shane. Who
Yeah.
did you just say beat Ohio?
Michigan.
You didn't say Penn State, did you?
No.
No.
I
Who
said
did you say
Michigan surprisingly
Ohio?
upset them. Yeah, Miami, Ohio
No,
lost to
but you
Kent
call us
State
Miami,
40.
Ohio. Oh, Kent State. Okay, I got you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I misunderstood that. Was that all of those scores?
Houston. Nah, you got a couple more. Houston over Connecticut 45-17. Florida over Florida State 24-21. Army over Liberty 31-16. Toledo over Akron 49-14, and then we get into the live games. The big ones that really matter: Notre Dame is up on Stanford 24-0. Pitt up on Syracuse 21-7. Kentucky leads Louisville 24-7 at the half. Halftime in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State tied at 24. Clemson leads South Carolina 17-0. And LSU leads number 15 Texas A&M down in the Bayou 17-10 in the third.
And they are also driving too. We talked about that last night. That we both thought LSU was going to win that game. So let's go ahead and jump into cover some things because I know we got a lot to talk about. Pac-12. Is there anything you want to go over there?
Yeah, you're going to have a rematch of last week's blowout. Next week for the championship game. With Oregon and Utah. Arizona State, easily beats 1-11. What's now 1-11 Arizona. Nothing really special out there this week. Pac-12 once again is weak as all get out for 4 years in a row.
Oh, yeah. I really don't care anything about the ACC because they're not going to be competing in this. Let's jump to the let's go and jump to the Big 12 before we go up north. Which so far you've called that Oklahoma State-Oklahoma game.
Yeah, it's nip and tuck. Like we all said it was going to be. There's more points though than what we had envisioned.
Right. So I mean, there'd have to be a lot of stuff happen for those two to get in. You agree? Or one of those teams to get in?
Yeah.
I mean, you got even if
Yippers.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of stuff to do. So let's jump up there to the Big 12, man. First thing I want to bring up, let's talk about that Michigan State-Penn State game. Where does Penn State go from here?
My guess is they're gonna end up somewhere in the end of December bowl somewhere there. I could see them like Music City
Are they ever going to get better?
Maybe an out. Not as long as Franklin's around. They have the talent, they just don't know how to coach.
So let's go ahead and jump into that. Well, first let's touch on Wisconsin because that's they was upset today. Did you watch any of that game?
A little bit, it was back and forth. I was really, really shocked. I thought they would, really, run all over, Minnesota's defense. Minnesota's been so depleted all year, and they're without, Muhammad Abraham, their top running back since week 1. I mean, I just don't get it. But the turnovers once again, and they couldn't, make it count when they got to the red zone.
We've got secured Iowa spot there, and then the game of the day. Harbaugh finally got it done, man. They're in the.
Yeah, I was shocked.
They're in the championship game.
They manhandled them at that.
Yeah, man, that got me too. I mean, because what they did to Michigan State last week, and like I said, Michigan they manhandled them.
Yeah, they ran all over them.
I mean, that reminded me of Big Ten football. Yeah, I mean that reminded me of Big Ten football. Our daddy's Big Ten football.
Yeah.
Line up and I mean, it was pretty impressive. So like I said, I guess he's going to get a raise now because if he wins that game to Iowa and gets in the playoffs, well, I mean he got him in the playoffs. I mean I guess that's a start. I mean,
yeah.
It took him 7 years to get
Iowa
there.
Will. Yeah. I think Iowa's going to give them a game early because they've always been good defensively all year. But the problem is, can Iowa, their defense can hold for a little while, but their offense is going to have to do something. They've been so suspect all year.
So, what do you think, Michigan or Iowa? Toss up, or Give the edge to Michigan, or
I would give Michigan a 10-point edge probably, just because Iowa's been so suspect all year.
all right. So
Offensively, they haven't been able to put points on the board.
okay. So what about the Big 12? Besides,
Oklahoma has to win to get into the Big 12 championship. If not, it's Baylor who faces Oklahoma State next week.
right. Oh, so that'd be a rematch. I didn't realize that. If Oklahoma gets in, they got to play them again the next week.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't, because Oklahoma State snuck up on me, man. I did not realize. I don't know how I missed it that they were 10-1.
Yeah, I mean, they've been good defensively all
And, I
year
mean, I
long.
totally-
They're the number 2 defense in the NCAA.
Yeah,
But
I don't know how. I don't know.
The problem is, top to bottom, the Big 12 is not very good. I mean, there's some good offenses. Baylor's got a good offense. Texas
Right.
does too. Texas Tech has come on toward the end of the year. In Oklahoma, you always, it seems to have a good offense, but year in and year out, you can't always, count on, good teams. There's always 3 or 4, if you're lucky.
So if it's Oklahoma, let's say Oklahoma wins tonight, and they have to play them again next week. Do you give the edge to Oklahoma in another game, or you give it to Oklahoma State? I mean,
I think it's a toss-up, honestly, but an Oklahoma win tonight, knocks Oklahoma State's chance of a playoff. Oklahoma would have to win both. Because if, say, Oklahoma wins tonight
right.
and then Oklahoma State wins next week, they're both 11-2, and you're not going to get a 2-loss Big 12 champion to the playoff.
True. Yeah, that's very true. So one thing I wanted to touch on, you mentioned them earlier. Of course, they won't have anything next week, but so Notre Dame, I guess they just sit there and hope and pray that the madness continues.
Yeah. I think if Oklahoma and Oklahoma State cancel each other out,
they're in the perfect state.
Yeah.
Or yeah. I told them, they told me I was crazy. I said no. I said you watch. I said Notre Dame is sitting in the catbird seat to get in the playoffs. They don't have to play that extra game, and the madness always happens. Yeah. I mean,
and Cincinnati has to play again next week too. They got to play the AAC championship.
Right. Yeah. True. Right. So I mean they're in a great spot. So let's go down to was there anything else you want to touch on in the Big 12?
I mean that the ACC championship isn't actually anything to scoff on. You got Pitt versus Wake Forest, and a couple of good offenses are going to be, going head to head. And Pitt's defense has been, shockingly good the second half.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because there's some, I should have wrote that off. There's other things I want to talk about in there. Does Miami? Do you think they fire Manny Diaz?
I would. There's 2 years of being suspect like this, and that is not Miami football.
But Miami's been down for so long, man. I mean,
yeah,
they've been down for,
they're overdue.
20 years. I mean, and I don't understand how.
And their last good championship run was what, 01?
Yeah, 01, 02, yeah. I mean, it was 01, 02, something like that. Because, it's been 20 years since they've been relevant.
Yeah.
Are they ever going to be able to get it back? I mean, one thing hurts them is their stadium is 45 minutes away from campus. And you don't have student fan base there. But I mean, Howard Snellenberger said, the thing we got to do is lock down Miami, Broward, and Dade County, and you could win there. But there's a lot more schools in Florida now than what there was when Snellenberger went there. And I mean, you got double the schools, and you got to remember Florida State and Miami, neither one of them was good teams.
No.
Um,
And
so
once again,
what else is going
a
on
shocking. It's LSU's got it up to a 10-point
I heard
lead
that
after 3.
Yeah, but A&M's knocking on the door. I'd heard that if the rumors is if they if they fire Manny Diaz, the coach, the number one guy on the list is Big Pimpin' Ed Orgeron. I mean, he can get that swagger back for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the guy
there's
can
there's a
recruit.
lot of coaches
You
out
got to
there.
give it to him on that.
Yeah. Yeah, he just
You get him.
he's just like James Franklin up at Penn State. You can recruit, but you can't win games.
I mean, but he's got a national championship. Franklin don't. He's proven if you get him the right coordinators with him, he can win.
Yeah,
and
then they lost
so
their
that ACC
number one
championship
quarterback
game,
halfway through the year.
right? So preview that ACC championship game for me. Who do you think's got that one? You think Pitt or Wake Forest?
I would give an early 3-point. I would put an early 3-point edge on Pitt for sure, just because of their defense. Wake Forest hasn't been able to stop anybody defensively when they played anybody good. They've really struggled. They struggled against North Carolina, who's not. I mean, that's a good team, and they're Mac Brown. Don't get me wrong, but they should have never lost that game. And then NC State beat them as well, and you got a couple of teams they aren't that great offensively that put up 40. I think it was like 45 points a game on them.
So let's go ahead and go now to the SEC. I want to talk about this A&M LSU game for a minute. A&M is 20-17 right now. We talked about last night that we both thought that LSU could win, and I actually gave the edge to LSU. I figured they'd come out there fighting hard for Big Pimpin', and playing in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night is always tough. If Texas A&M loses this game, that's going to put Texas A&M at 8-4 and 4-4 in the SEC.
Yep.
That's mediocre, and they beat Alabama. I mean, if you beat Alabama, you've got to get in the championship game, and they're not even going to. They're going to finish middle of the road. How long is the alumni going to continue to put up with this from Jimbo?
I think Jimbo's signed long term, so they would end up owing him a ton of money. They're going to release.
Yeah, and they actually extended his contract. They extended his contract. It'd be like $80-something million. I mean,
and the nice thing, if LSU wins tonight, they're bowl eligible too.
Right. Yeah. And when you look at this, he's been there. Every one of his recruiting classes has been in the top 5. I mean, you can't tell me that team ain't loaded with talent.
Yeah. I mean, there's no excuse for it.
No, I mean, I don't know what it is. I can't figure out. I've always said it's a fool's errand there. They can never get it done. I just don't know. I don't know. So we come out there and
any team that beats
Tennessee,
big competition. It's Jimbo talked a lot of crap after that game too, and then he turned around and fell on his face.
Yeah, he was already, they lost to Arkansas and Mississippi State before even going into that game.
Yeah.
And I understand he was happy about winning, and sometimes these guys got to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
Kiffin can get away with it. I love Kiffin. I guess he's to go out there. Tennessee. Where does Tennessee go from here? I mean, I thought Josh Heupel had a pretty good initial first year.
Yeah, I really think that program's on the rebound. I would say that give it another year, maybe two, then watch out. Tennessee has another great recruiting
Yeah,
class coming in next year already. They get a few more recruits on defense. Watch out.
So Georgia's secured their bid. We're going number one. Now, let's go to the the I don't know what you want to call that game, but the Iron Bowl. Alabama going down to Auburn as a 20-point favorite. How did they think that Alabama was a 20-point favorite over Auburn? I mean, the only team that they had lost to was, it was Georgia, and it was close until the fourth quarter. They had not been blown out by anybody else.
Yeah.
They stayed in all the games. Of course, Bo Nix was hurt, but how do you put Alabama as a 20-point favorite over them at Jordan-Hare?
That I was trying to figure that out, myself. There's no excuse for that much of a thing. Auburn's not really that bad, like we discussed earlier. They're a couple plays away from being 9-2, 10-1. And Alabama has been suspect all year. They've darn near lost a couple of games.
Oh yeah,
I would say if Auburn
is a handful of plays away. Go ahead.
If Auburn's running back had stayed in bounds on the second down play today, they had that game iced, because then they were going to have to call a timeout, and the fact that
let me start from the beginning of it though. Hey, hold on. Let's start from the beginning of it though, because I want to go through this thing and from jump. They shut. I mean, they whipped Alabama up front. They was wreaking havoc in there. Now I don't understand. And like I said, Auburn's a handful of plays away from being 9-2, 10-1. Alabama's a suspect, but Alabama, you could tell that Auburn was getting in the backfield. They was disrupting things. Why? You think these coaches outthink themselves? Why did Alabama not go to running the ball earlier?
When they did run it they had a couple plays, third and inches, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. They got stuffed. There's I think there's 4 series in that first half where they got stopped. Auburn just stepped up defensively.
Yeah, that's true. You got. Yeah, that's true. They did in the first half. Now, I guess I'm thinking of maybe more in the second half.
And Bryce Young missed a bunch of throws early.
When I finally started he was Alabama started finally getting it going. The running game was really starting to spark it. And they were running the ball really well. And for the life of me, I can't understand when Alabama had those 2 3rd-and-2s, and they ran the ball, or they threw 2 straight passes on 3rd and 2. And I was like, you give it to Ryan Robinson at that point.
Yeah. Robinson's been their guy all year. It's like, what the heck?
All right, so Alabama misses that field goal. It's 10-0. So give us the summary of the fourth quarter, because I'm still in a haze from that thing. I just all of a sudden I look up and Alabama's got a chance to tie the game. I don't even know what happened. I'm still trying to replay it in my head.
Let me pull that up here, because there's a couple turnover, a couple 3-and-outs in there, and then the thing that really turned it around for Alabama was an interception about midway through the fourth quarter. It was a terrible interception that shouldn't have ever happened. First play of a drive and an interception.
Alabama should have had another one. They should have had another one earlier on. They got that horrible late hit call.
Yeah, that was crap too. There was just
and what you talk about some piss poor clock management. that kills 40 seconds. Alabama doesn't even get close if they stay in bounds.
Nope. Exactly. There's no excuse whatsoever. You know, you stay in bounds, you make them call a timeout there, and then third down, it runs 40 seconds off the clock. What between downs, like you said, it's over at that point. There's just no excuse for it
Okay.
altogether.
I mentioned this earlier. Let's see. Down 10-3, your season on the line, and Bryce Young comes through a 97-yard drive. I know he completed one fourth down. Did he complete two on that drive? I know he completed
Two
one.
of them.
Heisman moment? I mean, if that's not a Heisman moment, I don't know what is.
I mean, that definitely, it could lead toward it. But I think if he's going to have his Heisman moment, it's going to be next week. He's going to have to lead his team to victory against Georgia, which is not going to be an easy, case at all. When Georgia's allowing 6.8 points per game this season.
Right. If Auburn, when you said earlier that Alabama should have lost a couple games, you're exactly right. Florida, honestly, LSU.
Florida had them on the ropes.
8 starters out on defense going into that
game.
Yeah, well, LSU was missing 8 starters on defense, and LSU did that to them. Arkansas was in that game. If Auburn was disrupting them, if those teams did that to Alabama, Georgia's going to have a field day with them.
Yeah. Yeah, Finley was intercepted at 6:39 of the fourth.
Yeah. If
that was the game-turning point.
I'm going to YouTube and watch that fourth quarter. I talked to a friend earlier tonight, and I was messaging him. And Alabama have to look at this against Georgia is going to a mass protect where they have 8 blockers in and just have Mechie and I can't think of his other name. The 2 best receivers go out for passes, and Young he's going to be running for his life.
Yeah.
And Bryce isn't big enough to take those kind of licks.
No, and Bryce doesn't like to run to begin with.
Well, I think he probably did in high school, but it's a whole different beast when you get to the SEC. When you're a 6 foot, 185-pound quarterback like Russell Wilson playing out there against high school kids, and you come to the SEC and you're playing against these big, strong guys, I wouldn't want to be getting hit by them either. They picked the right moment.
A lot of those guys play against. Yeah, a lot of those guys, face each other in high school and stuff too to begin with. So they all know each other to begin with.
Did you hear Saban after the game when we saw the reporter?
No, I didn't listen to any of that.
He was crying. I mean, you could hear it in his voice.
Oh, I'm sure. I was flipping around too much after.
That was a 97-yard drive for the first Iron Bowl. Amazing.
To go to multi-overtime.
We thought that. Yeah. When did they put that in without going for the 2? Because when they did that, I was like, what is this?
That came in during last off season. I know it hit during the Illinois Penn State game that went to like 9 overtimes. I didn't like it. I would rather stay with the offenses.
When they lined up and I was like, I said, what is this? I was shocked, and that's something. That was real weird. So who is your top 4 right now?
I would definitely say Georgia's the overwhelming number 1. I would put Michigan at number 2 after their beatdown of Ohio State today. You know,
I agree with that.
Alabama, I'm not sold on. You know, I would definitely put Cincinnati at 3, and I'm just not, like I said, I'm not sold on Alabama at all. You know, I might be
This is not the Alabama of
more.
past.
No, it's not.
No, this is not the Alabama of yesteryear.
No, that is for sure.
I guess I would probably go with Georgia. I mean, yeah, of course, Georgia. And I'm not. I'm fine with Michigan going to 2 because it really doesn't matter between 2 and 3. I mean, they're playing each other.
Yeah, just
I would put Alabama at 3, and I would put
Ohio State's out now.
I would probably have.
I would slide Michigan to number 2, Cincinnati 3. Honestly, right now, I would seriously contemplate sliding Notre Dame into the number 4 slot and Bama back to 5. Just because I'm not sold on them.
I don't think that Cincinnati. That's a team I'm not sold on. I've watched them struggle against Tulane and
Oh yeah,
Tulsa, was it Tulsa? So I'm not, the media is involved on this stuff with Cincinnati. I'm not a supporter of Cincinnati being in it. I think they'll get drilled. And Notre Dame lost to that team.
I mean,
They do have that one good win, so
yeah.
it may just be.
I mean, say Oklahoma State wins tonight and
Georgia
next week, I think they're my number 4. Oklahoma State wins tonight, they would be my number 4.
What is going to happen if, let's say that, of course, I don't think they're going to beat them, but strange things happen. I'm going to have a lot of help. But let's say that it's, say, 28-24 game or 31-28. What does that committee do with Alabama then? If they just played the number 1 team on a neutral field and losing a close game, does that keep Alabama in the playoffs?
Given how much they suck up to Alabama, I would think they would, just because, we've saw the last couple of years they've put them in when they didn't belong in there. Because they suck up to them for some reason.
I tend to agree with you that if Alabama's going to get the benefit of the doubt. I think that Alabama would get the nod.
Yeah, I think it has to be 10 points or less, though.
Where we're at. Oh, yes, most definitely. I'm thinking I think just a score. It can't be no 42-10 or something like that.
No.
Alabama's got to play a perfect game.
Yeah, I would say even if they keep it to like 20-10, I think they would give the committee something to look at. But if it's anything above 10 points,
if
they're
it's
out.
like that. Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I mean, they just phenomenal. I mean, the Alabama's winging of prayers, protecting Bryce Young, and they get a couple quick strikes.
Yeah,
because they're not going to be able to march the ball up and down the field against Georgia.
No.
Well, no, they several games this year.
Yeah, Bryce Young got beat up today. Got beat up against LSU. He took a bunch of licks and.
Okay, if he was going to have to predict right now, who's your conference champion is going to be next week?
I would say Michigan's going to take Iowa. Georgia over Bama right now. It depends on who Oklahoma State's going to play. If it's going to be Oklahoma or Baylor. If it's Oklahoma, it's a toss-up at this point. If it's Baylor, I take Oklahoma State just because they've been a little bit better defensively. I think Pitt would beat Wake Forest. And Cincinnati, I think, will drill Houston. It's just my opinion. But if Houston keeps anywhere close, Cincinnati can forget it. They have to blow them out of the water next week to have any kind of hope.
You're right. Yeah, you're exactly right. Okay, man, that's pretty much all I've got. Got anything else you want to add to it or touch on?
Yep, just trying to keep an eye on this Oklahoma game tonight. You got a 2-point game early in the third quarter. And 3-point game down in the Bayou yet with 10:07 to go. It's
I'm watching that
got
one.
a
I'll tell
couple
you
games
what.
that
Let's try to do. Or let's try to do it by. I would say by Thursday at the latest this week. Or next one. Let's do a uh, have it when we break down each of the championship games and the Army Navy games. I always love that one.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite all-time games of the year.
I do.
Either
I
way,
love
if
it.
Army wins or if Navy wins, Army
Now,
retains the trophy
yeah,
this
right.
year. Touchdown Oklahoma, that's a
So
9-point
how's
game
that sound?
now.
We do a breakdown of the champion. Do a breakdown of
Yep,
the championship games.
yep, sounds good to me.
What day you want to do it? Wednesday, Thursday? All right, buddy. I'll get these get this down and
yeah,
posted. And
yep, Thursday sounds
Thursday?
good to me. Yep, that way
All right,
we
Professor.
can
We'll talk soon, man.
that let yep that way it'll allow any injury reports to pop up on us.
Yeah.
Because that can
Okay.
that can really
Sounds good, my man.
make or break a team. Yep, catch you soon.